In this video, I'll show you how to model an isenthalpic valve in the UniSim environment. When you first open it up, this is how it'll look. It really doesn't look too daunting or impressive from this base screen, but don't worry, it'll get pretty involved in a second here. To start a simulation, what you want to do is click File, New, and then Case. This will also tell you if you have UniSim installed properly. If Case is grayed out like this, you need to tell it what server you want it to use. So you have to be connected to the UF server. And this will bring up the simulation basis manager is what it's called. So in this case, in this part, you have to tell it what components you want in your model and also what models it obeys. So let's go ahead and add a component. Let's add water, and we'll do the steam case first. So we'll double check the answer that we get using UniSim, and I want to highlight water and click Add Pure. Now this can take a bit of getting used to in UniSim, but there is no OK or Apply button like you might expect there to be, so just exiting out will save your component. So I can verify that by clicking Component List and viewing it, and I see that water is still in my selected components here on the left. All right, the next thing I have to do is tell the software what equation of state or what model I want to use for the water. So I was just on components down here. I want to click fluid packages. And now I want to click add. And this will bring up the fluid package basis. And I have multiple different options here. Some of them may look familiar to you. Most likely they will not. I'm not sure which equations of state and fluid property models you covered in Thermo 1, but I'll tell you that I recognize about 10 of these, and all the other ones are all different various equations of state that you can use. So let's try Peng-Robinson is typically a pretty decent equation of state. It's a cubic equation of state. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm choosing Peng-Robinson importantly because it applies to both the liquid and the vapor. So most of these only apply to one or the other. So for instance, if I look at NRTL, for instance, NRTL stands for non-random to liquid. So this is only good for liquids. And if you look at activity model specifications over here on the right, it says your vapor model is still ideal. So NRTL will only cover the liquid phase, and we're interested in the vapor phase. So we don't want to model an ideal gas. So again, Peng-Robinson is good for both liquid and vapor. So it's the reason why I'll choose it to start here. And then we'll also explore some other fluid property packages in this video as well. So again, click the red X to exit out. And here I see it says property package Peng-Robinson. There's some other things that you can explore here. Nothing else is very important at this stage. So just go ahead and enter the simulation environment. And this should bring up the green flow sheet here. And then over on the right, it should bring up a window that contains a bunch of process units and streams. You want to remember that blue streams in UniSim are for materials and red streams are for energy. So I want to start with a material stream, and I'll just put it anywhere on the flow sheet. So non-specified streams are in this light blue color. We need to give this stream some variables. So I'm going to double click on it, and that's going to bring up the stream specification worksheet. And I specified that in my problem I had 500 degrees seawater at a pressure of 10 megapascals. So I really like UniSim because it doesn't make you do the unit conversion. So even though it wants the pressure in kilopascals, you can still enter 10.0 megapascals on the drop-down menu, and look, it converts it for you. So 10 megapascals is equal to 1 times 10 to the 4 kilopascals. Let's see, what else do I have to specify? It wants me, I have to give it the molar or mass flow. So it doesn't really matter what number you choose, it just needs a basis. Remember, the inlet is going to be equal to the outlet, so whatever number I choose here won't matter if it's an isenthalpic valve. So let's pick 100 kilogram moles per hour. All right, so blue variables are stuff that I input. And in a second, some variables will show in black, meaning that's what UniSim calculates. And if I exit out here, it's still this light blue color, which means I have not specified enough information. So I'm going to double click on it. And what did I forget to specify? I have not yet specified my composition. So I do not want to, by the way, do not specify vapor phase fraction. Vapor phase fraction. If I put a 1 here, it is going to assume that it is saturated vapor, and that is not going to be 500 C and 1 times 10 to the 4 kilopascals. That is contradictory information, and if you do that, you will confuse UniSim. Instead, I want to set or constrain that my stream is 100% water, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because if that's the only thing that I have in my simulation, what else could it possibly be? But regardless, you have to tell it that it's 100% water to make it happy. So I click OK. And if I exit out of this menu again, now it should be this dark blue color specifies that everything is constrained. So if I bring it up, you notice I now have some black numbers here. These are, again, stuff that UniSim is calculating based on the input that I gave it. So notice a couple things. It calculates what the molar enthalpy is here of water. So I've got negative 2.27 times 10 to the 5 kilojoules per kilogram mole. You may notice that that number is different than the number that is in the back of Sandler. So pause for a second and think about why that is. I'll tell you the answer in a second. So go ahead and pause the video now. And there's a couple of answers to this. One of them is that in Sandler, they gives you H hat. And this value, kilojoules per kilogram mole, is H underbar. So it's a difference of molar versus mass basis of the specific quantity. And another reason is that UniSim doesn't necessarily use the same reference state. So remember, it's H is a reference. I'm sorry, H is a state property, which means it depends on the reference state. And anytime you're comparing things, you need to make sure that it shares the same reference state. So do not, for example, use the absolute value of molar enthalpy ever without knowing what the reference state is. Now in UniSim, the reference state is going to be consistent throughout the calculations. The point is just don't mix and match calculations from UniSim and then a textbook or a table that uses a different reference state. All right, so with this stream completely specified, I am now going to add a valve. So over here, you can mouse over and just hover over to see the different type of things that are available. I want to choose the valve. So this guy, and I'm going to put it anywhere on the flow sheet. Doesn't have to be right next to my stream. I'm going to specify that in a second. So double click the valve. It is going to ask you for an input and an outlet stream. I never named the stream, so my stream that I have so far is set at its default name 1, and that's the only stream I have. But if you name another stream on the valve, so I don't have a stream 2 yet, but I'm going to click 2 there. And if I exit out, it is going to create it for me. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now this stream is light blue, meaning I have to give it some information. So I have pressure specified here that I have to input. So if I double click it and I need to click pressure, what did I say the pressure was? Let's say 1.4 megapascals. And now look at that, it solved the pressure for me automatically. So it says my temperature, it solved the temperature for me automatically. Temperature is 448.8 degrees C. So you may notice that's a little bit different than the answer that we got. You should consider why that is so. It's because we used a different model. When I calculated it by hand, I had access to actual data. In this case, I don't have access to actual data, but I told it to use the Peng-Robinson equation of state, and it spits out that number for me. So let's go back and choose a different equation of state just to see what happens. So in order to do that, I could pick a different component, keep the same flow sheet constant. So go up here in the toolbar, click the beaker to enter the basis environment. And I'm on the fluid packages. I want to view, and I'll change this to something else. So let's change it to what do I want to do? Let's try Suave Reddish Kwong. All right, this is another one that is a cubic equation of state, so good for the liquid and the vapor, both. And I'll exit out, and I'll click this green arrow to leave the basis environment and return to the simulation environment. Alternatively, I could have clicked this return to simulation environment down here. And then I quite honestly don't know what it means to be left in holding mode. I click no, and that brings me back here. All right, so let's see what happens. If I hover over this stream 2, it now shows that I'm 2 degrees hotter than I was before. So now I'm at 450.3. So the moral of this lesson is different models will give you different answers, which perhaps is not surprising. But you should always be aware of if you get an answer that doesn't quite make sense. It could be because your model is not what it's supposed to be. Or maybe you think it's obeying this one model, but another model is actually more appropriate. All right, let's try a different chemical. So let's go back to the basis environment. And now I want to click Components and View. Instead of water, let's now try nitrogen. So I'm going to click or type in nitrogen. It'll give me nitrogen, the formula N2. I want to add pure and X out. This will only add nitrogen to my list of possible components. And then while I'm here, I'm going to want to do this later. Let's try chlorine gas too, just to see what the difference is. I'll add that one as well. I'm not going to mix them quite yet. I just want to see what they are separately. And return to simulation environment. No, I don't wish to be left in holding mode. All right, so my answer is still the same, 450.3. That's because I have to tell it that I have a different chemical inside. Also, I wanted to show you if you double click the valve, you can look at, or you can go to the worksheet tab. This is really helpful to view your streams side by side. So here you can see what the differences are. If you look at what the molar enthalpy is, the molar enthalpy is the same exact number between stream 1 and stream 2, which signifies that the default in UniSim is indeed an isenthalpic expansion valve. All right, exiting out, I want to go back to stream 1 and let's see what happens if I change the composition now. So I want to zero out the water and instead I want 100% nitrogen. Also notice that you can change between mole mass fractions on the composition basis. Because it's 100% here, it doesn't really matter whether or not it's mole or mass fraction. But if I had a mixture, I definitely want to be aware of the different bases that I could choose. Then I click OK and exit out. And now with nitrogen, oh, that's interesting. Right now my temperature is 505 degrees C. So that goes against my intuition a little bit. So if I expand a gas, right, it would make sense that if pressure decreases, that temperature should increase, it should decrease as well, because the ideal gas law says PV equals nRT. But remember, real gases don't necessarily abide by the ideal gas law. They could be more complicated. So in this case, when I've got nitrogen going through this expansion valve, it actually increases in temperature when the pressure is decreased. So we'll get to why that is in a couple of weeks probably. Just keep that in mind, that different components will give you indeed different answers. Let's try chlorine and see what happens. So if I go back to composition and I zero out again nitrogen and instead click 100% chlorine and exit out, and let's see what happens. Now chlorine behaves somewhat more like what I'd expect. The temperature is again decreasing much like it did for water. So something's weird with nitrogen. That's not a mistake. Just again, keep that in mind when we come to it in a couple of weeks. All right, one more thing I wanted to show you in this environment, and that is what happens if I have an ideal gas. So back in my basis manager, I'm going to go to Fluid Packages, View, and then I could really pick any one of these that's for a liquid. So the Margulies is one that's for a liquid. And if I look at what the vapor phase is modeled as, it's going to be an ideal gas. So liquid would be Margulies, vapor phase, ideal gas, enthalpy. So exit out, return to my simulation environment. No, don't want to be left in holding mode. And now temperature doesn't change. Pressure decreased, temperature remains the same. Why is that? That is because an ideal gas does not have any dependence on pressure. Remember, one of the key assumptions of an ideal gas is that there's no interaction between particles. And if I assume that there's no interaction between the particles, it doesn't matter what the pressure is, even if it's 10 megapascals. I'm still assuming that pressure doesn't matter. This obviously we know is not true. 10 megapascals is quite a large pressure. So this goes to show you that UniSim is not idiot-proof, as it were. So if you If you give UniSim a bad model, it will give you a bad answer. So you really have to know what you're doing when you use UniSim in terms of telling it and specifying what the proper model is. All right, last thing I want to show you just in this quick introduction to UniSim is how to change units if you wanted to. And also I want to encourage you to just spend some time with this environment, poke around and see what's possible. If you go to Tools tab, all the way at the bottom you see Preferences, and you'll probably start out on Simulation. I want to show you in Variables, you can change what the basis is. So SI units is your default. I probably don't want to stray too much from that because that's where you're going to be most comfortable, especially in college. You use SI units a lot, so meters cubed per hour and such. It has a tab here for field, which I find amusing. If you click on field, you'll see all these weird looking units, but much more like what you would actually see in your real job. So I like how they didn't call it British units, they called it field units because, again, that's what you'll see on the job. Barrel per day is a common volumetric flow rate in the petrochemical industry. So instead of some other kind of volumetric flow rate, this is what they prefer. So it's helpful for if you have processed data in the form of barrel per day. You don't have to go through performing all these calculations. You can just simply change the units in UniSim and do the simulation that way. So you probably won't stray too much from the SI units, but if you wanted to, it's there. All right, that's the end of this video. Again, poke around with UniSim a little bit, explore a little bit. Let me know if you find anything interesting.